Films, the podcast. Welcome to Colorado Films, the podcast. I am joined today by the co-founders of the Colorado Environmental Film Festival, Dave Steinke and Shawna Crocker. Shawna is a Colorado native and CSU graduate. Shawna is a Colorado coordinator for Project Learning Tree. In 2005, she helped found the Colorado Environmental Film Festival, which she proudly watched grow into a 20-year volunteer-driven institution. Shawna has received numerous awards for her leadership in environmental education and continues to support the community through travel, gardening, and volunteer work. Thank you for coming, Shawna. And Dave Steinke is a Denver native and University of Denver graduate who spent 38 years with the U.S. Forest Service, retiring in 2015 as Assistant Director for External Affairs. He co-produced the PBS documentaries The Greatest Good and the Emmy Award-winning Green Fire, Aldo Leopold and the Land Ethic for Our Time. Dave is the co-founder of the Colorado Environmental Film Festival. Dave, thank you for coming on. So congratulations, 20 years, 2 decades of this. How's it feel?
Unbelievable. I never really thought, it didn't occur to me that we'd ever be 20 years old. Now we want to be 80 or 100.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think Shawna's got the great Genesis story, the origin story for our festival when she was back east. So I'll let her tell the beginning of the story. It's great.
Okay.
Yeah, it's unique for sure. I didn't set out to start an environmental film festival. As a matter of fact, I don't even really watch many films then or now. Well, now I watch a lot of them actually, but back then I was back in Washington, D.C. for an environmental education conference with the organization I was working with at the time. And they said, well, while you're here, go check out our nation's largest environmental film festival. And so I went down to the mall and caught a couple films at the African Museum in the Smithsonian Arena down there. And the film was wonderful. It was called Flip Flotsam. I said it right this time, Dave. And the other one I don't recall, but mostly what impressed me was how many people wanted to get in and see these films, to the point where they had to tell everybody, half of you must leave. The fire marshal won't let us have this many people in here. Go away and come back. We'll do a second showing. And so being as how it was free, it was easy to do that. And people just left and then came back later. But I mentioned to the lady I happened to be walking out next to, wow, this was very well attended. We're missing a huge slice of the environmental education pie in Colorado with people who don't come to our classes, trainings, workshops, programs, hikes, whatever, but they go to a movie. And movies obviously now have the power of film the film has the power to change people's attitudes and behaviors and knowledge about the environment and the world. And I thought we don't have one of those in Colorado. So I went back, mentioned it to a couple people, and before long they were Googling around looking for things. We came upon the Wild and Scenic Film Festival, which was 3 years old at that point, and they were selling or renting out sections of their film show programs to others who wanted to get started. They had a little package for how to start an environmental film festival. So we paid them, I don't remember how much money, for about 8 hours worth of films. And we were going to run with that through an organization I was involved with called the Colorado Alliance for Environmental Education. It seemed like a logical program for them to have. So they hosted us the first couple of years. In the meantime, I was working at the U.S. Forest Service office because my own state Forest Service office didn't have a room for me to work in. Well, actually, I didn't want to go to Fort Collins. I was in Denver, so I asked Dave in the Forest Service, can I squat in your building and work out of your place? And they said yes. And so one day I poked my head around my cubicle into Dave's cubicle and saw a Wild and Scenic Film Festival program on his table. And I said, we're doing a film festival in Colorado. We're bringing Wild and Scenic films here. And he said, oh, I had a film in that festival. And I went, do you want to work with us? And he goes, sure. So that's the way this all got started. And in the meantime, we then looked around in Golden because we didn't want to step on anybody's toes, pick a date that somebody else already had. So we found an organization called the Golden Great. What does that stand for? Golden Resources for Education, Arts, and Theater. And they had a sporadic film festival every now and then. And it was headed by some people, including a guy from Colorado School of Mines, John Spears. And they it was really hard to get a hold of them. They didn't have an email or a web page or anything, but we finally tracked them down and said, hey, do you mind if we show a film in Golden Film Festival? And he said, good luck. He said, this is not easy. And so they gave us their blessing, and we kind of ultimately wound up doing a non-hostile takeover of Golden Great, because we wound up assuming their 501c3 a few years later and kind of merged officially, and we became them and they dropped off, and then we were them. So anyhow, that's how we got started with the festival in Golden, Colorado.
Okay.
Yeah. We started at the Mountaineering Center, which is the old Golden High School. And very modest, one theater downstairs, which converted the conference room. And I don't know how many people we had that first year. Most of them were related to Shawna or me. We showed my film, The Greatest Good, which had just been out and had played in the Wild and Scenic Film Festival. And so I understood a little bit the mechanics, what it should look like, what it should feel like. And I don't think we had 100 people show up.
I don't think we had 100. That was back in the day before YouTube. And so there was no place to go see these powerful, important films that I wanted people to see and understand. And the filmmakers didn't have a good place to show their films, and they were passionate and power. They wanted their films out there to be seen. So we were doing a service to the filmmakers by providing venues for these films to be seen, since YouTube didn't exist yet. And so in the beginning, people would send us, Dave knew about how he submitted his film, I guess, through Film Freeway. No, what was the other one?
Without a Box.
Without a Box.
Oh, okay.
And so filmmakers began sending us DVDs of their films, 1 or 2 copies. We said we want 2 copies. And then we'd get together, the committee, every now and then, and watch films on DVDs, trade them out, send people home to watch films, come back again a week or 2 later, trade out some more discs, and figure out of all the discs that we had, which ones could we include in our film festival. And we made our program. Sometimes we'd have Saturday all day watch film festivals with snacks and pizza and whatnot, and flip charts on the back wall where we would write down the names of the films we liked, and then eventually we rearranged them into the program that it's way different from how we do it now. But it was fun. It was lots of fun. People were with us.
How do you do it now?
Now it's all electronic, for one thing, which is great.
Yeah.
Now we have films submitted to us through Film Freeway, thanks to Dave, and our president, Rocky, also a filmmaker, know pretty much how to deal with the film industry and the filmmakers. I'm just a teacher. I'm just an educator. And so they worked, and our executive director, Nicole Bickford, is huge in learning new programming and how to deal with all these people. Nicole is an organizer to the nth degree, and she is the reason that we're still in existence today, I'm sure. She gently knows how to whip us all into shape and keep us on task and make things happen. Honestly, without Nicole, I don't think we'd be here today. But anyhow, so now people submit films to us, 250 during the pandemic, we were up to 350 film submissions that had to be watched at least 3 times. We figured yes, no, or maybe. And because they pay a small amount of money to see if we if their film meets our mission. It's up to them to determine what film festivals to submit to. But once they submit to us, we owe them a good viewing, a fair judging. And so we have each film watched at least 3 times. And as I reach out to find more and more diverse screeners, sometimes the films have to be watched a whole lot more times, because if we want diverse audiences, we need diverse judges and screeners, so that we get messaging to everybody, not just us old people that we know what our message is, but young people have a different perspective and they want different films in a film festival. So I reach out to people who are green, purple, black, brown, yellow, younger than me, whatever, and say, we need you to help us choose films. So it's a people's film festival in many ways. And then at the end, there's a committee of Dave and some of the other filmmakers among us, and some of us, who look at the rankings and ratings. There's a rubric. You have to, our judges have to fill out a rubric for all of the films that they watch, but they can watch them at any time of the day or night and in any place in the world and submit films. Films range from, I think our shortest was a 30-second PSA, which we have used again and again and again. It's a powerful little 30-second film. All the way through 2 hours, and that's way too long, and even beyond 2 hours. But somewhere in the middle of all of that, we shake it out with how long is the film, what are the messages, is it, they don't have to be perfect films. The cinematographic excellence is not necessarily the end all be all. The message is important. The age of our youngest film came from a 6-year-old, and we've had films from 11 and 12 and 7-year-olds through the years. And some of those kids have submitted multiple years to us. So we're trying to generate a younger audience who can see the power of film to change attitudes and behaviors and knowledge. We all learn from media all the time anyhow. And so the kids, they are at home making films, and they may as well be making films about what they're passionate about and what they want other people to know. Now that there's YouTube, people can go find a billion of these films all over the place between YouTube and Vimeo. But we have on our website a page called Watch Now, where we have looked at all these films. We have permission from the filmmakers, if they're out there already in public, and sometimes not, they'll let us put them on our Watch Now page, and we can say, you don't have to go through all of the YouTube stuff. We've already shown these films. We know they're good and that they work, and we want people to see them and use them. So I use our Watch Now page a lot, and we're doing more film festivals at schools, and the kids can choose the films they want to show from our Watch Now pages.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I really appreciate that page. Like I said, I watched the Half-Life of a Memory because it hits home, and then I was like, man, I'm so glad you guys put that up. And the other ones, you have a connection, I don't know, with the school in Hawaii, or is it just kids in Hawaii that make? I've seen a few films on there that are from, I'm like, this is in Colorado. It's way too tropical.
No, those films, about 8 years ago, I think, they found us and started submitting films to us. There's an organization in Maui called the Maui Julio Foundation that works with kids outside of the classroom usually, although they do sometimes work with teachers in schools. But the Julio Foundation gives kids an opportunity to learn about environmental issues, sustainability issues, cultural issues on their island, how to deal with tourism and historical and cultural and things. And they teach the kids how to make films. Everything from original music and scores to common cause, common use films that are out there for anybody to use. The kids write their own stuff, or they interview people. They just do these amazing films, and we have been in love with them ever since they first started sending them to us. And they'll send us 4 or 5 or 6 a year, usually, and then we pick the ones that resonate with all of us the best. And the kids love coming to Colorado because it's February, and they don't have snow, and so they like to come to us. And we always joke, you got here on our coldest day of the year, and they arrive, shivering, but they're out there sledding and skiing and whatnot in between being with us watching films. So it's kind of a fun thing. I took our film festival to Maui one year, and presented it at the Maui Community College because I was going to be there anyhow. And I just called up our connection there and said, hey, why don't I bring our film festival? We'll show you what we do with your films. So I had an afternoon of Colorado environmental film festivals in Maui. So that was kind of fun.
And yeah, I played football in Hawaii for a year or so, and it was there was a lot that was just a lot of environmental things that are happening on the island. Like most recently, I think it was on Oahu, was the Red Fort, where they had all that gas leaking into the water supply.
I don't know about that one.
Yeah, the U.S. military, they built for some of I can't remember exactly what, but there's like a gas holster in the ground, and it started leaking into the water supply out by the bases, and it's just a lot of taking for granted a very, very beautiful place.
We had another excellent film submitted, speaking of Hawaii, a couple of years ago when Pierce Brosnan's wife, what's her name? Chele, is that her name? They made a film. She made a film. He was the executive producer, called Poisoning Paradise, about Kauai. And that was a big deal film in Colorado, of course, because Pierce Brosnan came, and boy, we enjoyed spending the weekend with him and his family and his children. Talking about Poisoning Paradise was a powerful film because many people in Colorado have been to Hawaii, so they all resonate with Hawaiian things, and so it's been a fun thing to bring Hawaii here so often. But we've had kids from Thailand. A couple years ago, past 3 or 4 years, we've had films from young people in Thailand who are submitted to us. And one year, a family brought their 3 children to watch us watch their film. and it was a very wonderful thing. So
Yeah. So do you remember the first time, your first festival, you're like, all right, this is working now. You said there was 100 people at the first one. Did you guys see like, wow, now we've got some momentum behind this, and like you said, now let's go for 100 more years? When was the point like, let's go for 10 more years, let's go for another decade?
I don't think we thought another decade. I think we talked to a lot of other film festivals. We got good advice from the Jewish Film Festival.
Okay.
That's still going on here, and other local film festivals, the Dragon Boat and Indigenous Women's Film Festival, some of these smaller niche film festivals, and we felt kindred spirits with them. And a lot of them said, get to 5. If you get to 5 years, you'll make it as far as you want to go. So it was, we changed our dates a little bit. We added a theater, slowly tried to build this over time, all with volunteers. We didn't have a director at that time. We started to get more entries over time. And so it was slow growth, but solid. And I think Shawna and I, we knew we were onto something. That a great big one, the film festival in California, the Wild and Scenic Film Festival, that's the big one. And then on the right-hand coast, the Washington, D.C. Environmental Film Festival, and this vast wasteland of environmental knowledge between the two. We just really felt like we were positioned in the right place to have a successful film festival.
Okay. It's all about timing. It just, it was an idea that I had, just an offhanded idea. Wow, this is something we could use here. And we between us, we knew the right people. We had facilities we could use. It was an idea whose time was ready, and it just kind of took off. We did go to the Denver International Film Festival folks in the beginning to see if they wanted to work with us or take over or whatever. And they said they had just begun to accumulate these other smaller niche film festivals. And the director, Ron, went to his people and said, do you want to take on another one? And they said, oh no, we have too much now. And so Dave and I said, okay, how can we do this? And we found the director. So it was recommended that I contact the director of the Jewish Film Festival. And his advice to us was, we were worried about how much to charge for tickets. And he said, screw the ticket price, give them away, fill the theater. What you need to do for your audiences and your vendors and your supporters, show them full theaters. And we went, good idea. So we are really low cost because we want to fill the theaters. That's one of our mottos.
Okay.
Yeah.
What makes, for both of you, what makes an environmental film effective? Not just informative, but memorable. Because you can just feed the information all day and people go, I got a lot of information now, thank you, I'll be out of my head in a second, kind of thing. Versus, we saw that, wow, think about this is happening to our earth, to our environment, to our people right now.
Well, when Dave and I sat down to find, it was suggested that the founders should try to come up with the founders' fave 20 films from 20 years that were outstanding. And so we sat down with 20 past programs and flipped through all the pages. And it was amazing how similar our most impactful film choices memories were. Not exactly perfect, but and they weren't necessarily winners. They weren't the best of this or the best of that, but they were films that were either quirky enough or creative enough or powerful enough to really stand out in both of our minds, or else we had just dealt with them so much during that year that they were, on the top of the list. But we surprisingly came up with pretty much the same list of what were the most memorable or films that impacted us and no doubt our audiences as well. One of them was called Dive, and it was a gross film. It was an early on film about dumpster diving and all the that's thrown out. And that was before you heard about a lot of food reclamation kinds organizations that have popped up to distribute food that used to get thrown out.
Yeah.
Another film that we showed early on was called Tapped. And it was about the bottled water industry and Nestle. And that was way before most of the plastic bottle controversies or hostilities began to build up. And so we still see people who say, I've never had a bottle of water since seeing that film. And so they do have impact because they are something that most people just don't, it catches people unawares. Even if they know about the topic, they don't know everything about the topic. And the other thing that's interesting, I would always open the film festivals telling our audience, hey, I know we're talking to the choir here, because why else would you be here? But bring your non-believing neighbors with you next time so they can learn about these important messages, important topics. And years later, I realized that no, we are still doing a great service for all of our believers, because you need to come together to commiserate, to champion, to inspire each other on, to keep on the good fight, to work for environmental sustainability in whatever arena you are working in. Sometimes you just need to be around your common buddies who are also out there slogging away trying to make a difference. So yeah, that's
a great great thing when you've got those, you can see those messages and actually change somebody. How important has the volunteer community been for CEFF's longevity?
We wouldn't be here without them. We are all yeah, people, they like to come out and volunteer at the event, of course, because they get to see a movie or two and hang out with their friends. But we depend on volunteers year round who are our web people, our screeners, obviously. Dave, how many screeners do we have? Screeners?
We've got 80 people now worldwide who screen films for us, and anywhere from 5 to 100 films these judges watch. So God bless them for doing this, and we always thank them for trying to find those best 50 films out of the 250 that are presented to us that will make a difference to somebody who comes to the film festival to see these films. And we think that's where we make a difference, and where our volunteers make a huge difference in society by just allowing people to see these films. It's great.
We work closely with our volunteers because they are us, for one thing. We meet regularly throughout the year. We have a committee of volunteers who organize everything: the auctions, the vendors, the media, the promotions, lots of on the ground, putting posters out. We all decide together. Our committee of volunteers chooses the poster every year. The committee chooses the layout of the programs. We are very much a committee. We all have fingers in all the decisions that are pretty much made. And that empowers people to feel like they're truly, like the festival is theirs as well as ours. And so we're always looking for more people who want to make the festival theirs and carry it forward into the future and help. And speaking of carrying it forward into the future, when we began, most of our films were really depressing. Most of our films were excellent, but they were so doomy and gloomy that we sometimes hated to show them to people, because yes, they were the truth. Yes, they were powerful. But oh my God, you'd crawl out of there with a box of tissues and want to go up and crawl into a circle, you curl up in a ball at home and never get back out again. Yeah. And we didn't want that. We wanted to empower people to make a difference after they got this emotional wallop. And so we created the Eco Expo, where we invited organizations that are doing something sustainable or for the environment, because the antidote to depression is action. And so we want people to be seen that there are things people are doing. And so people would leave our theater and go engage with a room full of volunteers or organizations or businesses who are working on environmental or sustainable things, and they could get engaged right away. They could sign up to be a volunteer, or they could buy this marker that a high school student invented that's recyclable, or they could just do whatever, engage with these people that are working on these. So that was how we tried to ameliorate our doom and gloom festival. Over time, though, and I just was talking to Dave about this today, it's occurred to me that somewhere along the way, we started trying to select films that did have some hope, some solutions, some call to action. We didn't want just the doom and gloom. We wanted, well, this is what we could maybe do about this. This is what we're doing about it. And I think we are really, we look for films like that. And I think it's hopeful now to see how much hope there really is out there in our films. It's very comforting to see that there is hope. out there, and more of our films show that we can do this. So,
and I think our filmmakers understand that as well. That I think early on we got real biased, one opinion films. We never heard from a DuPont or from Cargill or from the manufacturing company that was doing the harm. We only heard from one side. Now we see more balanced stories. They let the viewer be educated, understand that. I think the length of films is coming down. We don't have as many 2-hour documentaries. And so we do see an audience that comes out, that sees a ray of hope, maybe comes out and engages with one of our people at the Eco Expo, and then feels good about this. I'm going to go do something about global warming or about sustainable agriculture. And that's what really keeps us going and watching and inviting these films.
Okay.
And filmmakers will come and be encouraged by talking with other filmmakers and create collaborations or find distribution channels for their films or encourage others to start making films. So it's just it's a community building organization. People like to come and gather and talk about things and talk to each other and celebrate with us at our parties, learn about new things from each other, and learn about old things again. So yeah, it's a fun event. A lot of work, a lot of volunteers. Yeah. We really appreciate everybody jumping in, and yeah, we're down to the wire right now.
Yeah, I met Lady Callie. That's a volunteer with y'all.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. She spoke very highly of you. You're gonna have a great time with them. It's so nice. You know?
Yeah.
So.
Callie stepped up and she's doing some good stuff for us.
Yeah.
Nice. So, Shawna, you said you watched most of the feature-length films for this one.
No, I did not. Dave watched most of the features. I watched all of the shorts.
Okay,
I only started watching features yesterday, thinking I better watch a couple so I can talk about them. And I watched 3 amazing, top-rated, highly rated films that I just can't wait to get out and start talking to people about. So, Dave, tell us about your favorites of the.
Oh gosh.
What do you think?
Corey's from Boulder, so I would highly suggest Citizen Ruth, Environmental Warrior. This is a 90s
warrior, not worrier.
Warrior, that's right, warrior. She's a tough old gal. She's 96 years old, and if you ever drive from Denver to Boulder and you come up and over, and there's still green land out there, not full of buildings, that's because of Ruth. And Ruth, it's a great biopic of her and her advocacy through the years. And that's you come out. This is a great one. You just come out loving Ruth. She is an amazing person. Still out there advocating for green space and that. So I highly recommend that. Let's see, Women of Carbon, our opening night film. Oh my God, Shawna watched that just recently too again, and this is about women in the construction industries generally and carbon capture, leading the world in this much more than many of the men. And again, you feel so good about these strong women. In a mostly male-dominated industry, really taking the lead and making a difference. Love that film. We'll have speakers from University of Colorado, from the engineering school, women from the Colorado School of Mines after that film. Bee Wild, what a great film about bees, from the Tickles, Rebecca and John Tickle, who did Kiss the Ground and Common Ground, 2 great films. Films, great films. We hope that they'll be there to talk about that. A sneaky one from a great filmmaker, John DeGraff. John is really one of the premier environmental filmmakers, and he made a film called From Sea to Shining Sea, Catherine Lee Bates and the Story of America the Beautiful. It's a great biopic about an amazing woman. Most people don't know her story. right down the street down there at Pikes Peak. She was a CC student when she went up there and penned that song, and then back east to finish her career. And it's just a great story. It's very patriotic. Again, you'll feel really good at the end of that. And we just added that. We just branded that with the 250-150 celebration of the United States 250, Colorado 150. That's been branded as one of their official events around the country. I'd watched Trade Secret. It's kind of hard. It's an investigative look at polar bear trading, the hides of polar bears. Very sad, but needs to be told. And then Shawna and I talked about one of our good filmmaker friends, Chad Weber from Save the Farm, Save the Future. And that's just up north. And he invites us to understand and know more about agrovoltaics, kind of a new thing that you put, instead of having all your acreage covered in solar panels, you just raise the solar panels a few feet up, and you can graze underneath it. You can garden underneath it. So you have the best of both worlds. You generate energy. You can sustainably have livestock, and you can grow vegetables under the panels. It seems so simple, but it's a great concept that Chad will bring, and he'll be there to tell us all about it and premiere that film with us. So yeah, lots of great choices.
He's had several excellent films with us in the past couple of years. Bluebird Skies was filmed in Boulder.
Beautiful film.
Film about mushrooms and sustainable soils. So he's everything. He's one of us now. He'll be there this year. And Mike Nelson is our keynote speaker, both for our children's program and then for our final day. Our final film is called Global Warming. Mike is the only meteorologist that I can remember who ever deemed to mention the word climate change. And he's been saying that for years. You know, he retired. He was the Channel 7 chief meteorologist, retired last year, but he was preaching climate change. He wrote the world's smallest book on climate change years ago. And he would go into schools and do the tornado dance a long time ago when he was just starting to teach kids. He really believed in teaching children about our planet, our weather, our planet. And so he would go in when teachers called him. Very entertaining guy. He'll be our children's MC with our youth program this Friday, the first Friday. We invite teachers to bring kids for free Friday morning to a program of films by children or for children. And Mike will be our MC for that program this year. And then he'll wrap us all up with a program of his new interests now, which involves supergrid solutions for climate change and others. So he'll be our final program speaker and introduce our last film, which is called Global Warming. Is that it? Yeah, Global Warming.
Right.
Yeah.
And talk a little bit about CEFF for Kids. It's for us, the volunteers and the other people who run this. Suddenly on Friday morning, we have this bunker auditorium in the Green Center at Colorado School of Mines is filled with 900 young people. The voice, the enthusiasm of kids, just bus after bus after bus loading in, and then Shawna saying, "Hi and welcome." We're all frightened to death, but Shawna, being an old teacher, she gets it and she welcomes almost 900 or more kids into this giant auditorium to show them short films.
I don't know 900, but I think 500 maybe be our max numbers. But yeah, the way that happened, again, our film festival has grown organically. We didn't have a business plan when we set out that we're going to do this, we're going to do this. Things happened and it worked, so we built upon it, which I guess is the way life works. But early on, we had some teachers. I'm an educator. I've got connections throughout the whole state because of my work. And I would let teachers know about these things. And teachers started saying, "Hey, can I bring my whole class? Do you have group discount pricing?" And I said, "Yeah, we could probably do 20 for 20 or something like that. Bring your whole class." And eventually we said, not many people come to the film festival on a Friday morning. Why don't we just make that be for teachers to bring classes? And so we started with our CEFF for Classrooms program, CEFF Colorado Environmental Film Festival, CEFF for Classrooms, CEFF for Kids program. And that's where we would really show films made by children, EPA always has a presidential youth award. Some schools that are doing incredible things environmentally, so they would submit their annual winner schools to us to show their films. And other people who were making films specifically appropriate for young people, we could include those in this segment as well if we didn't have enough films by kids specifically. So that's been a big deal. And a couple of, especially, you know, when the pandemic happened, that dealt everybody a blow who was dealing with in-person events. And our good old director, Nicole, rocked and rolled with the punches and found a program that let us put CEFF on virtually online. And she learned that whole program, as did every other film festival, I'm sure, in the country. And she had a way of, she had a program that showed us who was watching which film, where in the country, at what time, where in the world, at what time. So we could look at the spreadsheet and say, oh, so-and-so's watching this film in India at 2 p.m. or whatever their time. And it was amazing. That's when we realized, well, we really are an international event. Duh, we take films internet from the world. We have people who come to our festival from the world. And it always snows in February, so that always throws a little headache into the situation for people who are used to snow. I can think of a couple Mexican filmmakers who had a great time, but rented a cheap little car without snow tires. And anyhow, I diverge. But so CEFF for Classrooms, during the pandemic, people couldn't come, and so we had to put all our films online, and we told teachers that we'll send you guys a code that you can watch these films in your classrooms. Or if the kids are learning from home, each kid can get its own code to watch our films that the teacher would tell them what to watch. That was a nightmare to give every child a code. But anyhow, we wound up having to keep that program because it was so effective to continue to get these films in front of audiences. Teachers had a week after the festival to show our films in their classrooms for free, but they said, we don't really do the environmental topic so much in February. So we said, okay, we'll see if we can't make them available to you through the end of the year. And so now teachers can access our films for free online. They have to register, but they then can pick and choose which of the films we have picked and chosen that they want to show their students. And then I'm also encouraging the teachers to encourage their students to put on school-based environmental film festivals. We because there's a lot of good reasons for children to put on an event at their school. This all happened when I was listening to NPR one day a couple years ago, and I heard an interview with a boy named Gabriel. What was his last name? I can't remember his last name. He was the president of the Sustainability Club at East High School. And I was interviewing him about, and this was the year that East High School Sustainability Club had worked closely with other high schools to finally convince Denver Public Schools to put climate change policy in their operating policies. The students would go repeatedly to the school board and say, we really want our school to represent climate change education and sustainability measures. And the school board said, okay, thank you, we hear you. And then they didn't do anything, and the kids would go back again and say the same thing. And then finally, by the end of the year, the school board said, okay, we'll do that. And they put sustainability things in place, including a sustainability department now that works with all the schools to help the kids get involved in sustainability. They even have a seal, a climate change seal that kids can get on their diplomas with certain amount of environmental and climate education. So East High School started this whole student-based film festival idea because Gabe said he was doing all these great things with his club. Oh, he had made a comic book for younger children to learn about climate change. That was what the main story was about. And I thought, wow, I need to talk to him and say, hey, you got this film festival in your backyard. So fortunately, all their school-based emails were online. So I got online and found Gabe's and all of his other officers' emails at school and proceeded to hound him a little bit and say, finally, when I got to talk to him, hey, here's all these things you could do with us. Film festival, volunteer with us, put on a lot of different things. You've got your comic book going, but you could volunteer at our event. You could put on your own film festival. You could submit films. You could judge films, all these things. And he went right down that day and reserved the East High School Auditorium. He didn't even have to ask anybody's permission. I was confounded. Picked the date, and I said, wait, don't you think you better ask us if that date works for us? But he did. He got a date. Anyhow, and that was the beginning of our school-based environmental film festivals that we're trying to encourage schools to do. We did it with East for several years. This December at Rangeview High School had a very successful student-based environmental film festival with 60 attendees on a Friday after school. And
Nice.
the kids choose films now from our Watch Now page. I tell the teachers to tell the students that film festivals are a gentle form of activism. Maybe the student doesn't have the knowledge or the confidence to lead a climate march through downtown Denver or wherever, or to speak to a crowd. You know, they're kind of shy sometimes. Sometimes they're not at all shy, but sometimes they have a message, they have feelings, they want to convince people about this. So I said, put on a film festival, find a film that'll say what you want to say and show it to people. And parents will go to things at schools if the children put them on, sports games, drama things, music things. Parents will go, whether they want to or not. Parents have to go. And they usually drag along an aunt or an uncle or a neighbor or whatever to go see what my child is doing at this school. So if the kids can get an audience of students, teachers, and community to watch the films that they have chosen to show, then that makes the kids be environmental educators, for one thing, without even realizing it. It teaches the kids soft skills of planning, organizing, communication, marketing, budgeting, all kinds of things that they have to be able to do to put on an event like this. And it's stealth environmental education, because parents walk away, or the audience walks away saying, wow, I didn't know that. And it's like, well, now you do. So what are we going to do about it? You know, so
Nice.
anyhow, so we're pushing for more and more school-based environmental film festivals.
Yeah, and it seems like at least some of them are pretty, quick and easy to get to, but others might not be as well.
True.
So what's one Colorado-based environmental story that hasn't been told on film, but you'd like to see told on film?
Wow, that's a good question. Wow.
Okay. We've covered a gamut of films already.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I bet.
In agriculture and water and wild horses and bees, and we've talked so many stories. I might want to see more films about what the children are doing.
Okay.
I would like to see some films really featuring what Colorado classrooms and kids, although we have films like that also. Some films are like that, and there are some amazing things that students are doing.
And I think maybe more on water. I think that's what is coming. Climate change and water, and we're living it right now. The warmest winter ever, the lowest snowpack possibly ever this winter. And if this is followed up with another winter like that, we may all be in trouble. So I'm assuming and hoping that there are filmmakers out there shooting this now. What the cities, what the people are doing, how are we preparing, the water packs that are coming about. I think that's going to be huge next year for our film festival.
I would like to see more films made. And speaking of what Dave just said, though, how do you like my background?
Beautiful.
You might ask, where am I? Where it's snowing like that. Wishful thinking. That's hope.
East of Colorado or west of Colorado Springs. Looks nice.
I chose that scene to encourage snow to happen here. So I'm in the mountains right now, and it's as dry as a bone right now. So beautiful weather, 40 degrees. It's not normal. But the other thing I'd like to see more emphasis on probably would be the connection between environment and food and packaging and ultra-processed food and the packaging and the environmental damage that goes along with that. It's all connected, healthy body, healthy mind, healthy environment. Yeah. And we are killing ourselves with our crazy pace of life that doesn't give people time to really take care of their health. And it's easier to pick up a pizza on the corner that doesn't even have any food value at all because everybody's too overworked to go home and feed the kids. And it's all connected with societal important things like sports. We put way too much emphasis on sports. If we put the emphasis on the environment that we put on sports, we'd be living in a different planet.
Yeah.
If we put the emphasis and the money and the attention and the knowledge into environmental critical things that we do into sports and entertainment, we would be living in a different world.
Yeah.
And I'll go on record for saying that. That's a pet peeve of mine. Has been forever.
Hey, It is something like, I just think of all the time wasted on just trivial things like that, or looking at the people, incarcerated, all the man hours there and people hours there of people who are innocent that could be helped. Yeah. So I agree. And I worked in the cannabis industry. If you want to talk about garbage and packaging, that whole thing, why are we growing a plant inside? We got this thing outside you can do. Oh, because XL needs that money to pay everybody in the burn area here. So
Yeah.
And here's another one. Denver banned plastic bags, which I'm in favor of. There's way too much plastic.
oh yeah.
But I don't have anything now to put my garbage in, and I have to bag my garbage. So that means I have to go buy plastic bags to put my garbage in to go to the landfill. But they took away my free grocery plastic bags.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't take it away. You can pay it for it.
Here's another one. Cars. So we want more and more and more cars, but we don't want people to drive. We don't want people to park. We're narrowing roads so people can't drive so much. We're taking away parking spaces so people can't park, but yet every other commercial is about go buy this new car. Figure.
Yeah.
Yeah. One other note, it would be the social media, the use of phones. And what is that? What impact is that having on our society? I think lots of studies are underway. I think we're finding out other countries are banning them for youth. We showed a couple of films where the kids, they took away their phones and took them out to the woods for 5 or 6 days, and they came back and got real honest opinions from them on that. Another great film that we did was in Switzerland, the kindergarten in the woods, and they give young children Swiss Army knives and just turn them loose. Those are the films that we remember as making a difference, and you remember that film 20 years later. Shawna and I will still discuss that. And why don't we give kids Swiss Army knives? There
was more to it than just knives, but the point is that kids weren't learning how to take risks, and their parents were afraid to let them go do things. And so in Northern Europe, they would have forest kindergartens where the kids would go outside. There's no bad weather, just bad clothing. And even teachers would go out and they would not have a building. Their school was a lean-to with a fire for warm drinks at mid-morning, and then they'd be out sledding and playing in the snow, inventing things, taking risks, and being very autonomous. They could entertain themselves very well. Plastic toys, nope. They were out there learning about the world, their place in the world. And now more and more, I think, what was the last statistic I read? 20 or 40 forest classrooms in Colorado. That there were school policies that had to be changed that required things like bathrooms that schools were required to provide. But there has been a lot of work within the Department of Education to mitigate and soften some of those policies to allow teachers to bring their kids outside most of the time and meet in parks and places where it's since that we showed that film when there were no forest classrooms in Colorado to now when there are a bunch, it's heartening.
Nice.
Yeah, one other that made me remember on waste. We had a filmmaker who filmed himself for 1 year and tried to have all the plastic waste that he used. He avoided it terribly. Would fit in one mason jar, and that was his mission, to have all the plastic waste that he used. So he'd go to the deli and ask for it to be, handed to him or wrapped in a piece of paper that he could recycle. And the other film that came to mind when we were talking about this is How to Make a Sandwich. And a young teen filmmaker wanted to know what went into a chicken sandwich. And so he wanted to build it from scratch. So he planted the wheat and grew the wheat and shocked it and processed it to make the bread. And he found a chicken farmer and took the chicken and had to slaughter that chicken in a very humane way. And he came to our film festival to present that film, and then came up on the big stage and talked about what that meant to him, and that everybody should understand where things come from. Great connection, great lessons for him and for all of us who got to see that film.
He went on and made more films about how to make a book or a jacket or a pencil, a lot of things. He wanted to show people the real cost of the things that we use.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Nice. And so finally, what keeps you both hopeful? Because that a lot of things that you can see and environmentally that not very hopeful, but what keeps you hopeful?
Well, the fact that our films are showing more and more hopeful solutions all the time is really good for my soul to see that there is hope. The impact, the ever increasing impact our film has on our audiences, our festival has on our audiences, and the more and more people that say, "Oh yeah, I've heard of that," or "Oh yeah, I've been to that," or "Yeah, my friends are in those films that are in those," the way we're growing is very hopeful. In that, I'm an educator, and education is the answer to everything. And if we can't get people to learn from what we're doing, if they're going to keep watching sports and entertainment, which is a nice diversion and makes you don't have to think about what's important. So I think hopeful is more and more people are beginning to see the light that we have to make an important difference here. So it has to be personal changes in people's lives.
I think hopeful for me are the filmmakers who thank us, and the audience goers, the festival goers who thank us. Thanks for putting this on. Thanks for doing this. It gives me hope that we have a community of people who want to make change, want to save this earth and make it better. And then CEFF for Kids, 500 kids raising their hand after they see the film. They want to know about it. How the joy in these kids that's who's going to make the change in the next generation, next 20, 30, 40 years. So that they'll have a better earth than we're leaving it right now.
The young people give me hope. Yeah.
Yeah, me too, big time.
The kids are all right.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Well, Dave, Shawna, thank you very much for coming on and speaking about it. I look forward to coming and seeing some of the films. And, again, thank you. These are important topics, and, everybody should go and see it. So everyone listening, go check out Colorado Environmental Film Festival. We'll have all the links to them down below.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Barry.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay.
Wow, that was almost a full hour, 50 minutes or so.
We covered a lot of territory.
Yeah, there was a bunch to talk about. That was great.
Yeah, I think we did good. It would be nice. It would be nice if we could get a copy of that and send it out as well, all over.
Or at least link to their YouTube.
Link to theirs, yeah.
And we can do that through our social media.
Yeah.
I sent 2 pieces for social media. Hopefully it'll find its way there to Nicole. Gar's, I saw him the day before he left for the Olympics, and he put our poster next to the rings. And sent us copies of the poster and him holding the poster in front of the Olympic rings. So the poster
right
made it internationally, yeah, which is cool. So our artists should appreciate that as well.
Yeah.
And then Erin took our save the date card when she was at Sundance, and so she held it up in front of the marquee at Dance Film Festival to save the date for the Environmental Film Festival. So
awesome. That's
and
terrific.
Erin dropped one at Duffy Rolls.
Good.
The poster looks amazing.
It's an incredible poster.
In the window. Everybody loves that.
Everybody wants one.
I'm going to do Wild Birds tomorrow, unless you've already done it.
I've not, because we didn't have the posters when I was there.
Right.
Wild Birds is the one that said that they're creating a nonprofit called Chirp.
Yeah, I know you told that story at our meeting, but I've got to go get more birdseed tomorrow.
Take a poster. Yeah, because I did not. I hope we have T-shirts made of that poster. People are saying, I'll buy that T-shirt. People are saying, I'll buy that poster.
It's the by far the most popular, the most accepting. We went to Watercourse for dinner a week ago, and do you have put up posters? No, we really don't. I put it on the counter, and they went, "Wow, yes, we can find a place on our window for that. That's beautiful."
Yeah, I know.
What a difference that makes.
It's I think all of our posters have really been good. I like all of our posters.
I do too.
This one really pops. The colors, I think, are the main thing.
Absolutely.
And So even if you don't recognize it as Golden, Colorado, I mean, you look at the picture and it really doesn't have anything to do with films at all. Fortunately, somebody noticed the QR code, and I like that QR code, and I went, "Oh yeah, there's a little film clapper on there."
Right.
Otherwise, there's really nothing in the film that says anything in the poster that says anything about films, other than our big logo. So it's nice to have that background for our big logo.
Absolutely, it's great.
Yeah.
Works out. Yeah.
Yeah, we could probably get more posters. I'm about out of them, I think. I think most of them are gone from my porch. So, and I have a habit of going to places where there are people, events, meetings, organizations, and saying, "Hey, anybody have a place to hang a poster?"
Right.
And a lot of people will say, "Oh yeah, I can put that up in my office. I can put that up in my whatever." So I can't track those posters, but
no,
people are.
But we could do that. Where were they accepted?
Yeah.
Check with your friends and say where did it hang?
If I see,
there are lots of places that say no, because if we accept yours, then we have to accept everybody's, and
right,
yeah, jump up our front lobby and all of that stuff.
I try to tell people, let me know where you hung them, but oftentimes I don't know the people I'm giving posters to.
Sure,
they're meeting with me, they're going, and I show the film and I talk to them about it, and I say, anybody happen to have a good place for this poster? And they go, "Oh yeah, I got a good place for that poster." So we'll see. But I think Steve and I have talked about, because Steve is amazing. He is a little powerhouse I'm so glad Steve found us, watching all those films, getting all those posters out, putting on the films every month. He's a great asset to us, and he's put up so many posters, watched so many films. It's crazy.
And we have to follow Terry Shirley's lead.
Yeah.
Go through the school districts, have it approved, and then have them send it out digitally.
Yeah.
Gee whiz. And I went to the rec center at Whitlock. We play volleyball on Tuesdays, and they said, "Well, we'd love to put that up, but it has to be approved by the recreation district. So if you could get it approved, we'd be happy to put it up, but otherwise we have to say no." And that would be all of the recreation centers.
Yep. Same with libraries.
Town. Yeah, libraries loved it. The Columbine Library, they took 2 of them. Yeah.
Yeah. So some libraries have to get approval, some don't. Stores are happy to put it up in their staff rooms, where that's probably a better for it anyhow. Their staff is going to sit in there and drink a soda and read the poster. So but anyhow, all righty. Well, I'm going to have to put all of my notes in a legible form from watching Women in Carbon and figure out all the places to send that out. That was an amazing film. So
I love that film. Yeah, I think our best film, but our judges didn't think so. But it's certainly deserving of opening night. Absolutely.
I'm thrilled, and I was thrilled to see that what's her name's coming to be the speaker that night. Having just watched that film this morning and seeing all these women in the film and thinking that we got to contact them, and then pulling up our opening night poster and going, "Whoa, she's already." So that's amazing. Whoever put that together is wonderful.
Yeah, I agree.
So
yeah, it's shaping up when we're still 2 weeks away, which is even better.
And I've got the ice cores will be there again.
Love that.
Sure, I'll get a scientist, but got people to help me do the ice cores again, and it'll fall in place, and then it'll be over. So.
Amen.
But I wish and we are getting young people to come in and help. That's good.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
more young people and giving them more and more responsibility to do things, and
they better. We're getting older and tireder.
Yeah. How's Rocky doing? Have you talked to him?
Not lately, no. But he's doing fine. He finds he has more time because he's not driving to DU
every
second or third day for hockey or soccer or lacrosse. And so he says he has more time to.
He just retired. He's not doing. It won't be long.
I don't think he's shooting anything other than for pleasure and cause. I don't think he's making a living doing that anymore.
Who made the trailer this year?
I think Kat or Callie, one or the other. Yeah.
Nice trailer.
Yeah, it's quick, succinct. It's nice music. 60 seconds.
Yeah.
And so we're going to show that, right before, show the trailer, show the sponsor reel, show the logo, show the right at 7 o'clock or whatever time we start, show the 1 minute, and then lights up podium, hi and welcome to the Colorado Environmental Film Festival's 20th anniversary. So that'll be, every segment will start that way, which is nice.
Steve called me yesterday and said that he wants to switch one of his commitments from being a ticket taker or a front desk worker to being a projectionist. Apparently Nicole was looking for projectionists.
Oh,
And he couldn't figure out how to change his request on the volunteer sign-up form. But I told him that he could just tell her Monday when we have a meeting to make that change for him. I didn't know we were needing more
I
projection.
think that's easy, and we're going to have people left and right. No, I can't make that now. And so
Yeah.
I've kind of stayed away, and whatever holes they want me to fill, I'm happy to do that.
So we pay our projectionists. Is that true?
We did last year 2 people that were return projectionists. I think it was offered as a volunteer position unless the returning paid projectionist wanted to repeat, and then we would pay them. But it's, $200 for, 4 segments or something. It's a pittance,
Right.
what we pay them. And I think Dave would prefer to have Dave Rippey would prefer to have a paid projectionist for us.
Who's Dave
He's our
Rippey?
media manager, Dave Rippey.
Our
So
media
he's-
manager.
Yeah, we're paying him $6,000 this year. This is
Seriously?
this is Biff's media manager, and I think Crested Butte, and maybe a couple of other film festivals that he manages.
Oh,
Rocky knows him well, and so he has gathered all the films at his place. He is preloading all of the laptops with the program, which he will train everyone, all the projectionists, and then he will be there the entire time, floating from room to room, projectionist to projectionist, and he's proofreading them all. He's making sure that they have captions, that they play correctly. Yeah, so it's a big investment that we made to just divest Nicole of films
perfect.
and let a professional handle it. And so far so good, and it's so low stress with him. He's just a really chill guy.
What's his name? Dave Rippey?
Rippey, Riepe.
Riepe. Dave. Huh. That's
Yeah.
great. Who found him?
Rocky. He's a buddy
Great.
of mine. Yeah.
Media manager. Is this the first year we've used him?
Yep. First year ever. Yeah. And
Great.
Garce has always kind of been that, but he's kind of a grumpy old fart half the time and pisses Rocky off all the time. And so yeah. So we thought he's at the Olympics, Garce is, so this is a great time to see a change, see if we like it this way, and I think it's going to work well.
Perfect. So if we can get a social media manager to manage all of I'd like to be able to afford 5280. I saw that is it Denver Film Festival had a thing in this month's 5280 magazine. It's like, I wonder what they cost.
So yeah, they've got a different budget structure than we do, that's for sure.
But
And a different audience.
Yeah. So anyhow, I tried to find Jeffrey Reese, and I have had no luck finding him at all.
No.
So well. We can only do what we can do. It was great to
That's
track
all.
down Gene. I'm going to go to Gene Jackson's retirement lunch. They meet weekly, and they invited me to their every Thursday retirement lunch. And so
Fun.
coincidentally, it's a bunch of those people we worked with. And so I'll go there and try to remember some of them Thursday. I'm sure you're welcome to come. Mexican food if you want to come.
Thanks.
Thursday.
Yeah, okay.
And to catch up with Gene.
And you're going to be on Zoom at noon tomorrow?
Not tomorrow. The next
No,
month.
but you'll. Oh, okay. I'm going to just call in just to listen.
Yeah, I think I'll call in to listen. I'm going to go home tomorrow, or maybe early in the morning. I'm not sure. I'll try to make Zoom at noon tomorrow.
Yeah, no, so I don't know what the topic is actually. He sent me a link, but I know that's tomorrow, and then we're going to do something similar to this Zoom at noon the following Monday.
Should we maybe take a couple of notes of what our high points were from today's talk, and kind of maybe make it a little less freeform next time
We sure can, or we can ask them what they want us
to
to
talk.
talk about. Is it history? Is it future? Is it optimism? Is it current films? What part of that, and to leave a pretty good chunk, I think, for discussion.
For discussion, yeah.
Yeah. So we probably have 20 minutes to present. I think that's what he says, that normally they have 20 to 30 to present, and then 30 minutes for discussion.
I think I'll email Mike Nelson and tell him we're going to be on it if he wants to chime in, because I emailed him one time and said, you should be a presenter on this event. And he goes, already was last April or something like that. So he's
that'd be brilliant if he wanted to jump in as a third voice. That would be great.
Yeah, I'll see if I can't track him down. See if Nicole knows where he is. Okay. He could be anywhere. So, Okay, well, that was good.
Yep, I think that'll be dandy, and we should touch back with him. I'll send him a thank you. You should too, probably, and see if he can send us a link for our socials or our website or something.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
All right, thanks, Dave.
Yeah, have a good day.
Bye.